voice of God calls us to awaken him. How will he find us when he comes?
Awake and ready.
And when he asks us to dedicate our lives ever more perfectly to him, how will he find us?
Awake and ready.
Let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
friend, beloved God,
friend, beloved God,
masters of Kriya Yoga,
masters of Kriya Yoga,
Lord Jesus Christ,
Lord Jesus Christ,
Krishna Babaji,
Krishna Babaji,
Hari Mahashaya,
Hari Mahashaya,
Swami Shri Teshwarji,
Swami Shri Teshwarji,
Gurudeva,
Gurudeva,
Paramahansa Yoganandaji,
Paramahansa Yoganandaji,
saints of all religions,
saints of all religions,
we invoke thy blessing.
we invoke thy blessing.
Help us to awaken within us
Help us to awaken within us
a greater desire
a greater desire
to walk in the light,
to walk in the light,
to walk in thy love,
to walk in thy love,
to walk in thy joy,
to walk in thy joy,
to walk in thy power,
to walk in thy power,
to walk in thy peace.
to walk in thy peace.
Lord, make us an instrument of thy peace.
Lord, make us an instrument of thy peace.
Oh, peace.
Peace.
Amen. Please be seated.
Towers break, feels so quiet. The day I came there, not a green leaf stirred in the air, not a bird did proclaim ancient grandeur and fame, only ruins, faint memories declare. I marvel to think, how can greatness ever die? How can song disperse in the sky? How can hopes and dreams fade? How the warrior's sharp blade, become dust, was victory alive. I stood there and pondered the great deeds of men's past, how like clouds in the sunset, no glory can last. Even we, as we labor to achieve some bright end, must accept after glory that the night will descend. I've dreamed a broad rainbow over thicket and thorn, over crags that call, tarry your hopes are forlorn. All too oft in my dreaming, courage turned to despair, till I learned that success is but the courage to dare. As I gazed and thought sadly of terror's demise, suddenly I saw her woes rise, saw her brave regal forms, heard her people's brave calls, as though time had doffed a disguise. And I knew in that moment our gladness in life ever new.
Continue meditating and listen to the quality from affirmations for self-healing, the quality of renunciation. Renunciation means turning one's back on non-essentials, that we may give our whole attention to the Lord. We might think of renunciation as an investment, which initially may seem a loss, but in time becomes multiplied to many times its original worth. The least gift that we give to God will return to us in divine blessings 1,000-fold. Renunciation means nothing less than the gift to God of oneself. Renunciation is of the heart. It isn't what you wear or the outer rules you follow. When you renounce all for God, you hold that renunciation as a precious secret between you and Him. All your desires, all ambitions, then, are for Him alone. Now repeating this affirmation after me aloud and softer each time. I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
See where I fly.
See where I fly.
High above the tall mountains.
High above the tall mountains.
I am free, I am free.
I am free, I am free.
I spurn the tempting magic of this world. With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
See where I fly.
See where I fly.
High above the tall mountains.
High above the tall mountains.
I am free, I am free.
I am free, I am free.
I spurn the tempting magic of this world. With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst. See where I fly. High above the tall mountains. I am free, I am free. I spurn the tempting magic of this world. Its rainbow bubbles. See where I fly. High above the tall mountains. I am free. Lord, help me to see that in no outward experience will I ever find fulfillment. All that my heart has ever sought awaits me in Thee. Om Shanti Shanti.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dikshini, and this is my husband, Ram. And it's our pleasure to be here with you this beautiful morning. And I will read from the Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita and the Bible by J. Watterson, Kriyananda. This is week 29. Self-effort too is needed. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. These past weeks we discussed the need for balancing self-effort with receptivity to divine grace. Both are important in the spiritual life. Passive dependence on grace hasn't the magnetism to attract grace. Boastful self-confidence, however, which closes itself off from the higher divine power, is shallow, brittle, and given life's many uncertainties, susceptible to ultimate failure. There is a story in the Bible that illustrates the need to put forth personal effort so as to draw magnetically on the divine power. The story occurs in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 8. but as he went, the crowds nearly suffocated him. Among them was a woman who had had a hemorrhage for 12 years and who had derived no benefit from anybody's treatment. She came up behind Jesus and touched the edge of his cloak. As a result, her hemorrhage stopped immediately. "Who was it who touched me?" Jesus asked. When everybody denied it, Peter remonstrated. "Master, the crowds are all around, pressing you on every side." But Jesus said, "Somebody touched me. I felt power going out from me." When the woman realized that she had no escape notice, she came forward, trembling, and fell at his feet, and admitted before everyone why she had touched him, adding that she had been instantaneously cured. "Daughter," Jesus said, "it is by your faith that you have been healed. Go in peace." Self-confidence and self-effort are necessary, as the ignition of a car is necessary to the motor. Of what use the ignition, however, if the motor itself will not work? Wise is he who recognizes the real power in the universe and guides his life by that supreme power. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the 9th chapter, "To those who meditate on me as their very own, ever united to me by incessant worship, I make good their deficiencies and render permanent their gains." Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
I'd like to share a song. This is a song that Swami Ananda wrote, and you always would say, "Ram, you should sing that song." So I'm going to sing it for you today. It's called "Life Flows On Like a River," and he wrote it while he was in Assisi, the town of St. Francis. I was blessed to have lived with Swamiji for 7 years in Italy. Life flows on like a river that owns to the sea. 1 hour bounding through mountain vales, 1 hour winding through a lea. None may linger on the way, none may coax time to stay. Fleeting scenes move by us like a dream. Cling not, none will be your own, lest you grieve to be alone. Within you there's your home.
mountain veils, 1 hour winding through a lea. None may linger on the way, none may coax time to stay. Fleeting scenes move by us like a dream. Cling not, none will be your own, lest you grieve to be alone. Go within you, there's your home.
I'd like to read from Whispers from Eternity, a book of prayer poems by Paramahansa Yogananda. Rock me to sleep on thy bosom of peace. Thou hast come into my temple at last. The doors of my senses are open wide. The bird of darkness has taken wing. I tune the harp strings of my heart and sing a song of my age-old love for thee. My song will be newly accustomed with the fresh notes of my soul. Wavelets of my song will dance in rhythm within the heaving of thy great ocean of cosmic consciousness, growing to great bellows of devotion. They move steadily to thy shore. O lullaby of all soothing, rising, crashing waves, sing to me the song of my beloved Mother Eternity. O anthem of divine love, rock me sonorously in the cradle of cosmic vibration, and bring all my restless delusions to sleep at last on thy great bosom of peace. It's a joy to be here with you all today. I just came back from the East Coast, New Hampshire, where I was doing business with my company, Keops. And there was an experience I had recently with a fellow who is an astrophysicist. This topic today is about self-effort and finding the energy or the bliss within. It takes willpower. And this astrophysicist I was having lunch with, I won't mention his name. He has a TV show called Cosmos. You might have seen it. And I sat down with him for lunch, and I said, well, do you have cosmic consciousness? You have a TV show called Cosmos. You obviously have cosmic consciousness. He said, what do you mean by that? And I quoted Yogananda. Yogananda, he has a song entitled, "He who knows, knows, none else knows." And he said, well, I dream of the stars at night. And I said, well, that's you know, a level of cosmic consciousness. That's the subconscious dreaming of the universe that dwells outside of ourselves, but also within ourselves. And so we had a very good discussion. He's a fine fellow, and I highly recommend watching his TV show, Cosmos. I gave him a mala of mine that my company makes. It was a tiger eye mala. And the tiger eye is specifically designed to help people when they're traveling. We don't carry any tiger eye malas here, but all of us are on our spiritual journey. And life flows on definitely like a river. It starts at a very, when you're in the Himalayas, Gangotri is the is the source of the Ganga, Mother Ganga River. High up in the mountains, it starts with a trickle. Then it moves all the way down to across India to the Sea of Bengal, where in Calcutta, where Yogananda lived and grew up. And that's our journey, folks. And it just doesn't end in the Sea of Bengal. Yogananda said this journey of cosmic consciousness, when we attain the highest, it goes on for infinity. I was brought up in the Christian church, and we had this expression of living with Jesus for all eternity. And really, what it's meant by that, it's living in the Christ consciousness for all eternity. Because the Christ consciousness which Jesus manifested is that oneness with the universe. It's that oneness that each and every one of us has that's dormant, ready to awaken. In Yogananda's poem, Samadhi, and he talks about how he wrote this poem, Samadhi, in one of the busiest places on the planet. We think LA is pretty tough because of all the freeways are crowded and everything. People are coming here in droves. He was on the New York subway in rush hour. Yogananda was in this state of cosmic consciousness in the midst of all the hubbub of daily life, and he was writing down this poem. He said, "No one saw me, and no one asked me for my ticket." and I was thinking, we complain a lot about the congestion and so forth, but what we need to do is get in touch with the cosmic consciousness of our higher self, just like Jesus did, just like Yogananda did, and just like we're doing right now. We are here to become masters or electromagnetic beings of light. In the reading, Dikshini was reading self-effort is important. And it's very important. It's not about believing. It's about putting forth the effort every day. And Yogananda, he came with the practice of Kriya Yoga. And really, Babaji initiated Lahiri Mahashaya in 1861. Sri Yukteswar was initiated by Lahiri Mahashaya, and Yogananda by Sri Yukteswar. He came to bring the Kriya Yoga because it's in this time, this age of energy, where we talk about the atomic era, we talk about the universe. My friend Neil, he's fabulous. He's saying we are all made of stardust. When you think about the billions of years that this planet, and not only this planet in our galaxy, has evolved, but all the countless other swirling universes that are galaxies that are out there. It's unbelievable. One of the techniques that Yogananda said, after you practice your Kriya, to try to expand your state of consciousness to embrace the universe. And that takes a considerable amount of effort to try to expand your consciousness to embrace your stardust. That's a part of you right now. But getting to your point of origin, which is yours, the universe. Swami Kriyananda wrote a book years ago. I don't know if it's still in publication, but it's little stories, little tidbits entitled "Yours the Universe," of understanding that you're a part of a greater reality, and it's up to you to begin to expand the cup of your consciousness to receive that reality. God is infinitely large and infinitely small at the same time. So when you begin to visualize the expansion of your consciousness after your meditation, after your Kriya practice, and you begin to maybe get a glimpse of something or other outside of yourself, also understand that that reality is a part of your innermost nature. There's the photography that was, I'm not sure where you can find it now on the internet, but I remember they would take a point out in space, and they would show you the galaxies and all the different swirling aspects of the universe, and then it would start clicking down, clicking down, clicking down. Then you would see our Milky Way galaxy, and then click down again, and you'd see planet Earth, and click down again, and you would see the United States, and you would be clicking down, all in the state of Florida, and then to a leaf on a tree, and it began to go deeper and deeper into that leaf. I don't know if you've all seen that, but it's a great visualization to see that the universe is infinitely large and infinitely small at the same time. It went into that leaf, and it just went into all the electrons and the protons and just into the quarks. I guess that's a terminology that I've read Neil's book, and he talks about the elements so infinitely small that it's unimaginable. But we are a part of this greater reality. Yogananda, in his poem Samadhi, he talked about feeling the presence of God in his heart, and that he cognized this grand imperium to be a point of intuitive perception in your own heart. And you think, well, that's why the psalmist said, "Be still and know that I am God," because it's only through stillness that you can perceive that point of intuitive perception in your own heart. And as that grows, that stillness grows, it begins to manifest outwardly. I went back to New Hampshire, and all my company employees, we had our meetings every day of the week and sales training and so forth. So they gave me an applause. And they said, "Ram, you're 25% over your numbers from last year at this time." And everybody applauded. I was applauding too, not for myself, but for Divine Mother. Because I absolutely did nothing. My wife will tell you. But there's an unseen hand when you practice Kriya Yoga faithfully and regularly, and that's what the vow that we take when we come to the Kriya initiation. We say, "I will practice the Kriya Yoga faithfully and regularly, as it was taught to me." And that's can be difficult at times because we're so busy. I've got to get to work, I've got to get this, and I've got to get that. I've tried to never get out of that house without practicing 14 Kriyas, at least 14 Kriyas. To call on God, to feel the presence of spirit of the universe within yourself. And as you do that, it opens the door. It opens a doorway for the universe to manifest through you. Even if you are totally unaware of it, if you begin to see with a different vision, you'll see that miracles will begin to happen. So many times I'll be out on the road. I'm an account executive. My territory is all of California, Southern Oregon, and Nevada, and Southern Utah. Big territory. So many times when I'm out on the road, or before I'm preparing for my trip, I'll get a call. "Ram, I was just thinking about you." Telepathy is a very important aspect of our world today in Dwapara Yoga. We're living in an age of energy. It started in 1899, and Yogananda's guru in his book, The Holy Science, talked about this age, this new age, not being the age of Aquarius, but the age of Dwapara, the age of energy. And one of the key components of our energy is our thought. Thoughts are things. I knew an IBM scientist. It's marvelous. Ever since I came onto this path of self-realization and came to Ananda when I was 24 years old. This is my 40th year coming to Ananda, and the movement of self-realization started through Yogananda's disciple, Swami Kriyananda. I started here in the fellowship, but then a master guided me to Ananda village. But so many things have happened when I made that move. It's like constantly God is manifesting and showing its undreamed of possibilities. So this IBM scientist met Swamiji. Swami, while he was living, he did the work of more than 100 people. He was constantly in tune with the universe, and the universe was constantly manifesting opportunity. In Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda quoted Carl Jung, "They're undreamed of possibilities when you open up to the universe and practice yoga and meditation." And Swamiji's life was that of, like Yogananda. He came to Yogananda when he was 20 years old, and was in the fellowship, became the vice president of the fellowship, and eventually was ejected. And he thought, my life is not worth living anymore if I can't live it for my guru. Within a very short period of time, Yogananda and Divine Mother began to show him, you have a great work to do. And he wrote over 300 pieces of music and over 100 books, and started the Ananda village because he was willing. Willpower, being open and willing to act. One of the greatest things, George is taking over the music ministry, and I think it's just fabulous, George, because it's an opportunity for you to grow and to share, and also for you, Dan, to grow and share this music. He's going to do a solo in a few minutes that is just fabulous. But I came to Ananda village, and we met this IBM scientist. His name was Marcel Vogel. I don't know if you've heard the name. It's a book written called The Secret Life of Plants. There was a chapter dedicated to Marcel Vogel in this book. And Marcel was doing tests with plants to show how plants respond to human consciousness, or the power of telepathy. It's like our cat. I'm sure she's tuning into what we're doing. We have this wonderful little snow leopard. She adopted us, and we leave her at home with the air conditioning on with this heat. But I'm convinced, every time we pull in, she's right there at the window looking. She knows that we're coming. Well, the plants, the animals, the humans that we interact with, everyone is a part of this greater reality. Even the rocks that I sell tumble stones. And those tumble stones each have a unique vibration. I gave Neil deGrasse Tyson this tiger eye mala. And he said, I told him it's all about your traveling. It's all about keeping your energy intact as you travel. And each one of those stones has a quality. We have stone charts which talks about the qualities and so forth. Well, and so everything is conscious. Everything is consciousness. And so if you're working, if you are in the right state of consciousness, you will manifest in whatever you do, opportunity. If you can open yourself to that. A lot of times we tend to complain about our office workers. This person did this person did that. But if we can open ourselves and get it beyond that carping spirit, we can find miracles happening in our work. And this is Marcel Vogel in his research. He found that when he was on the other side of the planet, he would think of his plant in his laboratory, and the meters that were connected to that plant, there was a response. And so he's thoughts are universally rooted, not individually rooted. Thoughts are things. We are part of this greater reality, and as we control our thoughts and our attitudes with positive energy, we can move mountains. Swami Kriyananda, so many times I saw him. I was in 1978. I had just arrived at Ananda village, was there for 6 months. And he comes back from India. He's just completed his book, The Autobiography of a Western Yogi. It's The Path, spiritual autobiography. And he says to me, Ram, I want you to come with me and be a part of the singing group, our Joy singing group, and we're going to tour the country with singing these songs. Well, we went on this tour, and it was revolutionary for me. I saw every city in America. Swamiji lectured. He talked about his book, had book signings, and the people were transformed by the music, because the music has a vibration that goes out that can touch you on a very, very deep level. So many times people came after that tour, people left what they were doing in their cities, just like the Pied Piper. He would play his little tune and all the children would follow him. That's what happened. The people began to come in droves to the Ananda village. Just amazing. Thoughts are things. Music is a vibration which reflects a certain level of consciousness. And when it's composed by someone who has attained a high vibration, then it can transform you. I used to sell a book from Hay House. I worked with Louise Hay. You remind me of Louise. And the book was entitled Power versus Force. Power versus Force. You know, there are 7 aspects of God, 7 qualities of God. So many times we think, well, God is something outside of ourselves. But those 7 aspects are love, joy, energy, peace, light, power, wisdom. So this book that I was listening with my colleague the other day, coming from our headquarters in Cheops down to Boston. This book is entitled Power versus Force. And it's all about vibration, how human behavior is based on certain levels of vibration. And if you can change your vibration from fear, which is one of the greatest sort of levels of energy that bring you into bondage, fear, anger, hate. When you resonate with that, it just brings your energy way down. You want to go out and kill somebody. What brings about that desire? Well, it's something that's inside of you that needs to be eradicated with kindness, with love. And so he talks about power being the vibration of the universe. And those 7 attributes, along with power, love, joy, are high vibrations. And usually we tend to think of power as being egoic control over somebody else. You know, you're in charge. Now I'm in charge. Now I can show you what it's all about. I'm in charge now. I got the power. We see that going on all the time in our workplace, people going through their ego games. But true power is understanding that you're a part of a greater reality, and that you're here to grow in love and power and wisdom, to grow in the light of God. And as you meditate, this naturally uplifts your vibration. This is the power of meditation. This is the power of getting in touch with your higher self within. And I'd like to close with that thought. Be still and know that I am God. You don't have to go around and say, yeah, I'm God and I have arrived. No, it's not about that. Yogananda said, a humble magnet call, a whisper by the brook, on grassy altar small, there I have my nook. Meaning God is in the very simplicity of life. And if you can live your life in a very open and humble, simplistic way, God will use you as a channel to manifest miracles in this world. You'll get pauses from your coworkers like I did last week. That comes and goes. The greatest thing is to find the touch in your own heart that God is with you all the time. God bless you all.